This channel is about repurposing our everyday, and today we're going to repurpose work. Do you know someone who loves their work? Wouldn't that be just the best? Well, that was not me. I was in a job that I was not liking. Not only that, I was not good at it. I felt like I was a round peg in a square hole, or a square peg in a round hole, one of them. Because I'm stubborn, I lasted 10 years in that job until I eventually changed. And when I did change to the job that I thought might be a little better for me, 3 years. 3 years, and I was now in a place of limbo. In that time, I did some soul searching. I learned guitar. I wrote a book or two, and I answered some questions that helped me return to that original job with a new perspective. And I discovered that maybe I did have something to offer. And I'm going to tell you how I got to that place, and hopefully it'll help you decide, is it time to change, or is it time to change something about the way you're approaching your current job? Simon Sinek says, start with the why. The what is the job. The why is the motivation behind why you do what you do. And I do think it's important to deal with motivation before we address which job, because a job is a job at the end of the day, and some are going to be slightly better for us, but just changing job is not going to sort out all our problems. I think we know that. But the why question, it's pretty difficult to answer. It's a pretty deep question. And so I asked some other questions to help me. And the main question I asked, it was who? Who in 3 parts. So the first was, who am I? Who am I and what am I good at? What am I good at? What am I passionate about? What ticks me off? What do I have to offer other people? Once you've taken a few notes about that who question, move on to the next one. And that is, who's made you? That is, who's invested into your life? Coming to the realization that no one's a self-made person. This should bring us to a place of gratitude. I've realized gratitude is rather important. We don't have any guarantees in our life. We should be thankful for what we have before we move on to thinking about where we want to be, what we don't have yet. And the third who question is, who can you help? Who's out there that has a need that you can meet? And that helps us think beyond ourselves to the bigger picture. Once you've got your head around those who questions, we can start to address the why more satisfactorily. Come to terms with the motivation behind our desire to change our work. I thought I'd found that position, that new job that was going to take me to a place where I'm feeling more happy, fulfilled, and yet the job was not what I thought it would be. And I went back to my original job, and I realized something. I could actually find fulfillment and enjoyment in this job that I'd left behind. I didn't think I could. It took leaving and thinking through some things to understand this. It's not what the job is doing to me. It's what I can bring to the job. I've got some things that I'm good at, and my job might not naturally tell me. It's not going to tell me to bring those things to the job, but I can find ways myself. When I know myself, I can find ways to bring myself to that workplace. And I started to notice opportunities that I didn't see before. I started to bring my best to certain aspects of my role, and it started to change the way that I was perceiving my work, but also the way that others saw me. I started to see myself, and others started to see me as having something to offer. It was just by repurposing these few things in my workplace. What can you offer? That no one is telling you to do that thing, but you could do something about that thing. The other thing I did was I did some research. I looked into certain aspects of my job that frustrated me, and I realized others are frustrated about the same things. I learned about them. I learned about the best practices the bosses weren't telling us. Maybe they didn't know themselves. And I started to slowly, politely suggest different ways forward. In that, I felt like, again, fulfillment. Something I'm doing to make a change, to make a difference. I'd encourage you to think about where you are. With gratitude, think about, is there a way you could repurpose some aspects of what you're doing? Think of it differently. As I've said before in a previous video, it's not about seeking new landscapes necessarily. It's about having new eyes. When we look at our everyday in a new light, we might discover so much more potential there than we thought before. Let me know in the comments. Are you thinking about a change? Can you relate to any of what we've talked about today? Love to hear from you.